SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to week 7 of the PGA Tour 2020-21 season, the ZOZO Championship. Not where it was last year, but that's a common theme from last week that we are dealing with. Another no-cut event. Looks like probably 74 to 78 guys. DJ's already withdrawn, as we most assumed. Apparently, that is why DK was delaying pricing yesterday. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. That's just what they said. But then they released pricing with him, and then he withdrew later. So anyways, with that, the 2-game NFL showdown, I did 3 articles on all those games last night. And then the pricing came out late. It just got to the point where I was like, let's and I wanted to watch the Cardinals-Cowboys game for multiple reasons. Decided just to do this morning, fresh, do a little bit more research. So ready to go with that. Last week, CJ Cup, pretty good tournament overall. Enjoyed watching it. Obviously, the aesthetics of the course is tremendous. One day, hope to play it. It looks tremendous, right? One of those bucket list type of deals for most people. Didn't have any Schauffele or Hatton, so that pretty much probably tells you how I did this week. Although I had plenty of Henley, and we had the outright on him. I was overweight on Kokrak. I had a lot of the right pieces. It's like the 3rd week in a row that like my lower stuff or middle stuff or the sleeper lower type owned plays I've been pretty much right on, and I just miss at the top. I mentioned, especially in these kind of events, I'm not going to play all the guys up top because you start spreading yourself too thin, and you want to be unique in some way. And just didn't go with Schauffele. And Hatton, I worried a little bit, in general, the travel and coming off the win from Euro. And he even admitted Thursday after, his first round leader that he was exhausted. And it kind of showed a little bit. He fell back some, then stormed back a little bit Sunday, had a great Sunday, finished 3rd, comes back as one of the 5-figure guys this week, 10K and up. But, I was pleased with, I say pleased. I had some chances Sunday, which after Thursday, I was like drawing dead. Had Wolf, that didn't work out too well. I wasn't too overweight on him, so it was all right. But, Hovland started off bad Thursday. He fought back. You take Thursday out, he had a pretty good week, finished 12th after starting, I think, +3, +4, something like that on Thursday. So, obviously I had Matsu again. He came back Sunday. So all of, Neiman even started out a little slow. I think he was even, came back, got a 6th. Had Munoz, a lot of Munoz, 9th. So enough there to win about 30-40% of the bankroll back for the week. Had a good showdown Saturday. Didn't play Friday, I don't think. And Sunday play didn't do too well. Had Champ, who actually scored well, had an eagle. I didn't have Day, which was good. But I just didn't have, all those top guys that you knew were going to be high owned because of their price on Sunday, plus where they were sitting, Henley, Kokrak, Schauffele. I had some, just not enough, and they all stayed up there and had really low rounds. I thought JT would finish strong. I think he shot +2. So, all in all, it's just what you get with these weeks. You have to take your stances and hope they play out. That'll kind of be a thing today. I had Kokrak first round leader, did not bet him outright. Unfortunately, I've done that a couple times this year. Where guys I don't think will finish. Maybe on that situation, I should top 5 at least my first round leaders. I don't know. He's always a first round leader kind of guy for me. I like him, Damon, some of those guys that I'll play, that I'll play first round leaders a lot. Whether I think they'll get the job done, I don't know. And I played a lot of them and had them in a lot of my betting lineups in recent weeks. His iron play has been tremendous. We've talked about that. So, to not be there when he cashes is a little frustrating, but it's kind of part of the game in that situation. Couldn't ask for a better spot, though. We got the leader with the 3-stroke lead going into Sunday, but I did not feel comfortable about it. And I mentioned that in Slack. I mentioned that my round 4 showstoppers, or maybe I said it on the betting when I updated the bets for Sunday, that I was going to look for there was just never really that perfect kind of spot to hedge. I mean, because it was, Schauffele and Kokrak going back to back. You had to think Schauffele, and the books did too. There was a point there where Kokrak got up to almost 2-1, 250-1, and Schauffele was kind of even money. Kokrak couldn't miss a putt. So I was just hoping that 2 guys would break away early enough, and you'd be able to kind of, and obviously you'd want Henley to be right there, so you could hedge off of that. But I didn't want to bet both of them, and it just wasn't a good spot ever to really take advantage of it. So didn't hedge it. Is what it is. We had a chance there. Had some top. I think Palmer was one of the only ones that maybe had a chance at the top 5. I think he finished 13th or 14th. So enough there. Good week, great course. Hopefully, with what they did, and maybe I don't even know if they're open to hosting a tournament. It seemed like when they talked to the GM a little bit, they integrated the BetMGM app, throughout the telecast and stuff, which was, that's good to see, especially for our industry and the things we do. That app is, when I was there in Vegas, it was the first time I downloaded that app. Super easy to use, super easy to get money in and out. So the nice thing about it is, especially if you're live betting and stuff like that, you don't have to go up to the ticket counter every time. You can just put your money on it. It's got almost every play you can think of in there. So, that integration stuff is something that'll be nice to see as we go on. And I can't imagine what it'll be like for, Augusta, as far as live betting and stuff like that. Should be great. March to the Masters, we mentioned that, started a week or 2 ago, updated last week. Our first prize, mentioned it. It is the limited release Scotty Cameron T22 Newport 2. Super rare release. Really can't find it in retail no more. I think it was over $800 to $1,000 retail, depending on where you got it. You can get it on, eBay, stuff like that right now. You can bid, and they're going for that much, right around there. So very excited to get our hands on one of those, thanks to a sub in the Slack. So the winner of the March to the Masters will get that. We will add a couple prizes as we get closer to the Masters, and depending on how many signups we got, we'll see if we'll give away 2-3 prizes that Monday after the Masters. To get in, you should have got, we've emailed it out. We blasted it in Slack. It's on Twitter, at Gups Corner, or you can go to mine as well. And either sign up during this period or upgrade if you're a current member. And if you're already at the full access site, and you are a current member, you're already in it. So I'm not leaving anybody out that's a current member. By no means, we'll never do that. Obviously, a big promo to try to get. We just want you guys to give us a chance. I think we're growing every week, every month. We're adding stuff, adding content, adding tools. We're trying to get our next round of updates to our football tools. We brought them in-house, building them from scratch. The golf tools are phenomenal. Everybody loves them. Still, adding to and enhancing our lineup builder piece by piece. So as we march towards 2021, I think things are looking great. Now's your best time to get in. 30% off with the code MASTERS, gupscorner.com/membership. It's the highest discount we ever offer. We are also looking to bring in new inventory for the new year. So we're having a huge sale in the store. You can use the code Augusta, 40% off all items in there. Everybody loves our shirts. They're, the nicest. They're nice shirts. They feel nice. You can talk to anybody that wears them. Some guys have bought multiple ones just because, they've had them for a year now or several months, and they wanted a new one, and now they get 40% off of it. So that's been awesome. And all the stuff that's in there, our standard shirt and hat, we re-up those as they get low, but the other stuff, once it's gone, it's gone. We won't be redoing it. The Master shirt sold well. The US Open shirt, if you want to get those further out, jump in there now and check those out. gupscorner.com/store. Listener League is up. I will include it in the podcast as well. Last week's winner, R. Harker, 594 points. Schauffele, Morikawa, English, Neiman, Kokrak, Si Woo Kim. Great lineup. A lot of guys that, pretty well put together. I couldn't get to English last week. He's just a guy I struggle to get with. So that's a good play. Had everybody else but Shoffley. Just passed on him. I went more cow, which I rarely do. He finished okay. Was way more on like JT and people like that. JT was one of my highest owned of the week last week. He finished 12th. He came back. He shot that 6 under, I think, Friday, and then just did okay on the weekend. I really thought he would go low Sunday and make a charge, but never happened. So congrats to him. He's already accepted the invite to the League of Champions that we will do next year as we get closer to the end of the season. That'll be exciting. Everybody has accepted that's been in there. We're doing something similar for NFL. So if you want to check that out on Thursdays when we release that, you can do that as well. Top 3 on NFL get in each week since we only have 15 weeks. And we'll probably do it week 16, week 15 or 16, kind of who knows at this point with all the COVID and stuff. We're trying to plan it by year as we see how the season goes. Attorney preview, as always, I'll direct you to our man, Kenny Kim. You can check out his podcast or read his article on the site if you're a member. He does great detail on it. No reason for me to regurgitate all that. He puts a lot of work into it, updates it. He's been pretty hot with cash and his plays. He'll add 3 or 4 of his favorite bets, T20s, T10s, stuff like that, and some winners on Wednesday when he updates the article, and those have been great. So this course had been played, as most people know by now, many times at the old, I think it was basically the old Hero Challenge. And then there was another tournament before that. I'm not putting a lot into it. A, it was a while ago. B, Nicholas did a redo of this in 2016, and it really hasn't been played since then. So I'm more going off of, just like last week, we'll listen to the guys. And you can kind of pick up that they felt it was going to be somewhat hard, and we saw that, right? You saw guys get hot, and when they got hot, it was mostly putting. Like Kokrak never putts like that. When I have him, he damn sure doesn't. Like he has roller coaster rounds. He'll shoot like 5 under and then +4 the next day. He was just hot, and then we learned that he's an ambassador, so he's played that course a lot, knew the greens. That stuff we would look for this week. Listening to the guys, I felt it was going to play a little harder than most. And kind of set up that way. I didn't think it was going to be, 19, 20, 21. I didn't think it was going to be like -9 by any means. Historically, the tournaments that have been here, albeit a different, other than Tiger, a bit different genre of guys, it's not scored real easy. Especially if you get wind and weather like that up there on the West Coast, it can definitely hurt it. It's par 72, 7,000 yards, 5 par 5s, but I'm not focusing a lot on that because a lot of them are gettable for everybody, for more than normal, and especially being a smaller field. I think if you put par 5 scoring up there, I don't think that's going to be your differentiator, if you will. So there's other things I'm looking at besides that. Bent rough, which is probably easier to hit out than, well, it is easier to hit out than Bermuda rough, and then bent greens again. So just like last week, probably quick greens is what I would assume. Jack likes bent grass. He mentioned many times he's not a big Bermuda fan, so obviously bent greens are there. Weather conditions cooler than what they've been playing, especially in Vegas. For guys like Tiger today, that's always going to be a concern on their back. High 40s, low 50s in the morning. Being a small field in a no-cut event, it won't be much of a weather draw because all these guys are out, pretty much within an hour or two of each other. I think 2-hour window maybe. So not really looking at that as far as a weather draw, more looking at it as how would it impact the course. Winds picking up as the week goes on. Thursday and Friday right now look pretty good. So not a lot to put in pre-tournament, but if you want to think outside the box, who could finish strong on the weekend, especially if the wind picks up, guys like Palmer, stuff like that, they normally play good in the winds. Maybe you put a little bit there, but there's just not enough there for me to put into it, but something to pay attention to. No cut, as I mentioned. I'm going to put the winning score around 15 under. I think 14 to 16 kind of feels right to me. So I'll split the difference, go 15 under. So, scoreable, but I think, just like last week, I think there's going to be some holes that can get these guys. So you can have, 5, 6 under rounds, 7 under rounds. I think Kokrak shot 8 under on Sunday. And then you can have plus, that same day there was, I thought, so you watch the early guys or the guys that have been struggling going out, and, a lot of them are shooting +2s. Rose started double, which kind of killed a lot of my Sunday showdown lineups, in the big MME. I didn't put him in the 444, thank God, but you get a start like that and it kind of sucks, and it could have been the win. You didn't know how it was going to play in the afternoon, but those guys that have been on just kept firing. So a lot of it was putting, but definitely, I think this will be similar. I think you'll see some high scores, some low scores. As we saw last week, the leaderboard can kind of flip a few times. Guys can have bad rounds and come back. Hovland was one. So don't get overly excited one way or the other come Thursday night. It's going to be a long tournament as far as with positions. I do think finishing positions could matter a little bit more. If we don't have that many get over 10 under, DJ probably would have been popular here. His father-in-law Gretzky's lives on this course, is a member there. So DJ's probably played it a ton of times. Too bad he's withdrawn. Ranges this week for me. So we have 5 in the 10K with DJ withdrawing, 9 in the 9K, 10 in the 8K, 16 in the 7K, 35 in the 6K. Stats in my model I'm looking at this week: strokes gained iron, good approach, good drives, ball striking, scoring opportunities inside 18 feet, and then birdie or better. I do think driving will be important as far as hitting fairways. I'm not going way overboard on like fairways and accuracy and all that just because we hadn't seen it. That'll be something I'm listening to in these pressers today and tomorrow. I'm assuming they'll probably have one of their 9-hole matches tomorrow like they've been having, which have been great, just to kind of listen to the guys and see how it's playing. I'll adjust from there if it seems like – I think the fairways are wider, so, definitely hittable, but that's something I want to, can you score if you miss some type stuff? How important is it? And hopefully we get enough of that from the guys. So right now, those are the stats I'm looking at. Course fit, obviously nothing is here. In my model, I have the actual ZOZO results from last year, which was over in Japan. So this week, kind of just went through some Jack courses and others, picking up in the media and stuff that this may be like, and put together a course fit ranking. And it seemed to be kind of accurate to where I think these guys would fit. If you're new to the pod, appreciate it. I do the Dirty Dozen, 4 tiers, 3 picks each, 9K and above, 7,600 to 8,900, 7,500 or less. And then the 4th tier is a flop, a fade, and a sleeper. Sleeper being my favorite play, $6,900 or less. Then I go through a last 4 out gut feel play type of deal. Just, being a solo right now, I want to mention a few other guys, especially this week. There's a lot of guys I do like. Definitely looking more like an MME build to me type week than maybe the Bullet. Although I always play the Bullet mainly because of GC Cup, and I did make GC Cup playoff start this week. So for all you guys that made it, congrats. I made it on all 3 that I'm in, and I'm already inside the T. I think it's 65 or 70 makes a second cut. I got to hold on, but I like that I got somewhat of a chance, except for the Woods. I think everybody's playing for second. Our boy Omar, who we met last year at the DFS Open, he was actually a late fill-in for one of our teams. Played with Steve and Pud, I believe. Good guy. Shipped a lot last week. I think he turned $300 or $400 into 40,000 or something. It's always nice to see that when Slack gets a hold of it and starts cheering him on. That's always exciting. So JT on 18, if he makes that putt, I think it was another 10 to 15,000 for him. So that was a little bit of a blow to him. But when you make that kind of ROI and that kind of money, you can't be too mad. But so I get through the fill or last 4 out gut fills, and then I'll do some betting strategy, one and done strategy. Yes, one and done still going on. And then Gup's final thoughts, and we'll get out of here. On the GC Cup, I do want to, so it is the playoffs. I get asked a lot, but obviously you can always go check out JB's Twitter, at Gup's Corner Twitter. DM us if you have questions, don't understand. We're not doing, and JB can tell me if I'm wrong, but I get this asked a lot, and I went and looked myself. You can go look at the schedule yourself, but the Bermuda won't be part of it. So basically it's round 1's this week. Round 2 is the Houston Open. And then the finals would be the Masters. So, I think it goes whatever, 120, just like the FedEx, it mimics that 125 to 70-ish, let's call it, to 30-ish for the Masters. So that'll be fun to see it end on that with the way the Masters ended this year. Hopefully I can get inside the top 30 in a couple contests, have a little fun, a little sweat there. So let's get to the Dirty Dozen. 9K or above, I think it's going to be tough this week. I think ownership will be spread out some, maybe not as much as last week, but definitely will be because you have such similar fields, similar tournament, bent greens, no cut, 70-ish guys. I think I'll probably be trying to capitalize on people's overreaction to last week. So is everybody going to load up on Schauffele? Probably. I don't think many would have thought he would be the highest price if I put a true sermon, even with his performance, which he was incredible and he got new irons and they obviously showed, and he's number 3 for me in my overall rankings. He's a Cali boy. All kinds of things that point to him being high owned again, and I really couldn't argue with it. Morikawa's up there. He's a little price break this week. Obviously, Rory Hatton is the one that I think will be low owned, although he's 10K and coming in great form. He won over in Europe, then a third last week. He's playing great. JT looked, okay, and he finished 12th. So, take that for what it is. And then Rahm, is where I'm starting. I like Rahm. I think 11,000. I get a little break from Schauffele. I hope Schauffele gets chalked up again. I'll just take my chance there. I didn't like Rahm last week, and I mentioned that because he's a guy I think that likes to get in rhythm. And he kind of mentioned that he took like a mental break. He'd been grinding, and now he's all right. Let's go. Now let's start my Masters run, and still finished 17th, quietly 17th. Like I don't remember even really talking about him, him being mentioned a lot during the telecast, stuff like that. So I like Rahm. I'm not a big Rahm guy because normally he's super chalky, and I'm trying to avoid that. But being that we'll have a spread out exposure up here for sure, where I think will be interesting is the down low, because it's differently laid out this week compared to last week. Last week was pretty easy to see where people are going to jump to. It'll be interesting this week to see where the leverage spots are. I like Rahm, 11,000. As I mentioned, I do like JT again. Maybe just the Sunday finish and all that gets people off of him. And so, if I'm going to go up top, those are 2. And then Rory's kind of like starred, check marked as I'll keep an eye on him. Last week, it surprised me, the DJ withdrawal. It was like my ownership was great. But the one mistake was Rory. Like I had Rory too high and I had Rory too low. He was, and my projections, and Rahm too high. It actually went the other way. Rory came in higher and Rahm dropped some. So, with Schauffele being the highest price, but he's only 200 more than Rahm, 600 than JT. I don't think it'll detour a lot of people, but who knows? We'll kind of see where that's at. But right now, those are the 2 I like, Rahm and JT. If I was going to play a third up here, it'd probably be Rory. I think he's going to put it all together. Showed some flashes last week, was up and down. He still hadn't just come together all in one. But my third pick is going to be Wolf. 9,100. This is that spot I'm talking about, and I'll kind of mention it throughout the pod, is that bounce back. He looked god-awful. I don't really know how else to say it. He grew up, I believe he played or was 7-10 minutes away from this course in California. He got a second at the Shriners and then like almost probably close to, if not DFL last week. I just think there'll be an overreaction to him, and it'll be a spot that if he's super low owned, now he's 9,100, saving some money. I think he was 10K last week. I'll go back there. I think that's a good leverage play. If for some reason I think he's, especially with 5 par 5s, we know this dude can score on the par 5, so I don't mind going back there, being low owned. Certainly a guy I'll look to be on this week. 7,600 to 8,900. First one's gonna be Bubba. I do think Bubba will probably be talked up a lot. He's kind of rolling in the right direction. He's a guy I have my eye on maybe for the Masters. This course, just from reading and all the stuff you look at, is kind of a the more creative type shot, the better, right? And so 2 guys come to mind immediately, and both of them play the Augusta well, is Bubba and Reed. Reed's going to be in my a little bit later on, but Bubba 8,700. Maybe people don't pay up for him. He got 7th last week. I was on him last week. Had a lot of Bubba. Another guy that I kind of had right. You get so frustrated when you're reviewing yourself. I don't know how many people out there do it. I preach it. I talk about it a lot in the Slack and in the stuff I write is to try to not only grade yourself but go review who did well and how did they get there, and is that something you saw or didn't see, or where was your process messed up? Last week it was pretty easy for me. It was really Shoffley and Hatton. They were there. They were ranked high. I just chose not to play them. The other stuff that's a little harder to dictate or pick is, the low 7s, 6s, 8s, stuff like that. And I think I did well there. So as mad as I could be about the frustration, the process I think was right. Bubba was a guy that played well. And I think he'll play Way Hill. I think he's coming in good form. I think the price is good. Maybe a little higher than most people would think. So maybe we get a little less ownership, which I'll take. Neiman, I'm just not going to quit him. Had him last week. One of my highest owned, finished 6th, 13th at the Shriners. He likes these kind of greens better than most. He's 10th in my overall model, 8,400. Definitely like Neiman. Scheffler, go back there. I think he's a guy that form hasn't been as good, so I worry a little bit. But now 8,200, I'll play what I would think will be a lower price guy. A lower ownership guy. Don't have to get too much overweight on him. Stats wise, he's second for me. Form wise, he's not. He's 24th or so. He's got a 37th at the Sanderson Farms, miscut at the Shriners, 52nd last week, and there was only 75 guys or so last week, so not great. Worries me a little bit because you want to get guys in form right now, but in a no-cut event, a guy that like him that we know can go low. I played him last week. He was one of the guys that didn't do well for me. I'll go back there at 8,200, and especially I'm assuming low ownership this week. So those are the kind of guys I'm talking about this week, are guys that can give us leverage and the overreaction that we can take advantage of. So hopefully that, and I'll mention some guys. That's why I added the last 4 out, gut feel plays, because there are guys I like this week, but a lot of people are going to like them. So there's no point in me regurgitating that information. 7,500 or less, I'll go back to Munoz, 7,200. Love him. 23rd to 27th and a 9th coming in his last 3 tournaments, 5th in my recent form ranks, 13th overall. 7,200 just seems low for me for him. I think he's better than that. I just think he's playing better than that. He's been playing great for a while. He's mentioned he's motivated to get on some of these like President Cup teams, stuff like that. He's not flashy, but the price is just right there. 7,200. He really, a top 10 is tremendous at that price, but which I think he's got that kind of leverage this week. And he's a guy I got my eye on betting wise as well. Next up, Palmer, 7,100. Guys just keeps a great 2020 going. Technically 2021 now, but 17th in stats, 4th in my course fit rank. So looking at some of these courses that I think play like this, that's a big deal for me. 17th last week, 34th at Shriners. So playing good at that price. If he can finish in the top half, flirt with the top 20, top 15. But he's got that ceiling. We know he can get hot and go low and be right there on Sunday. So I like Palmer, 7,100. And then last in this range, Rose. I kind of mentioned it. So he finishes 52nd. He starts off 4 over Thursday, I believe, something like that. +2, +3, somewhere in there, +4. Then has a great Friday and Saturday. Played him and showed. He was on my showdown Saturday where I did well. And then starts out double on Sunday. So I think the upside there is still there at 7,400. He's 15th in my stat model, 18th in the course fit. So, another guy I don't think many will be on. So, if he's 8, 9, 10% in this kind of tournament, I like Rose this week. I'll take my chances there. Hope that he's a guy that when he peaks or when he hits that form, he does well. And I think, he's a guy to keep our eye on as we get closer to Augusta. I think there's a week, no one's hardly going to be on him, especially if they just look at results, the overall results, and not deep dive into it from last week. So another leverage play I like at $7,400. 4th tier, a flop, a fade, and a sleeper. Flop is a guy that I think won't return value. And I try to look for, at least 8K or above guys. Obviously I could find these low price guys. That's not too hard to figure out. And fade is just a guy I think, either whatever ownership generally is what I'm trying to fade. Could be course history, recent form, stuff like that. And then sleeper, like I said, just my favorite play, 6,900 or less. Flop for me is Fleetwood. 8,500. Didn't play real great last week. He played all right in Euro, but before that, over here he wasn't playing good. Always gets those clicks. 8,500 though. There's a lot of other guys I'd play around him. I'd go back to, Kokrak before that. Neiman's right there. Scheffler's right there. Bubba's right there. A lot of guys there that I just like where they're at better than him. Sung Jae's 500 less, and so I'm going to go Fleetwood as my flop of the week. Fade. It's going to be Fitzpatrick. I think he'll get talked this week. He got a 12th last week. His form's good. Course fit, he's actually good. He's 10th. His stats just aren't there for me still. In a par 5, I don't think he's going to have an advantage there. Relies on the putter a little more than I'd like. In general, I just, he's a name that gets talked up and definitely gets used. And again, 8,300, that spot, there's so many other plays this week that I will fade Fitzpatrick. My sleeper, and he's not really a sleeper. It's just the price. Played good last week. He's actually 16th in my stat model. He's kind of, maybe he's starting to come back into form. I'm going to go with Spieth. So, free bet of the week. I already bet him. He'll be on my card. 80 to 100 to 1, depending on where you're looking at. 38th last week, not, mid-pack, but at 6,900, that's all you really need. It was between him and Connors for me, and I just can't trust Connors putting yet enough but I mean, Connors will probably be in play for me, but as far as official sleeper of the week, I like Spieth. Maybe he's peaking at the right time, can get a good Augusta number. We know he can play that course well. So interested to see if he gets talked up any in the industry. I don't know if this will be the week that everybody jumps back on. If it is, I won't go to him. I'm not going to play a chalky Spieth. Like I just want to play like an average speed, like, 10, 12%, something like that. That's fine. But, if he's going to just be the auto chalk of the week, then, I'll go elsewhere, whether it be Connors or something like that. So keep an eye on that. If we get the Wednesday or tomorrow and he's chalky, I'll go to a guy like Champ. He's not as high on my rankings, but $6,800 and his par 5 ability, I'd take that chance over a chalky Spieth all day. So keep that in mind as we get to tomorrow. Last 4 out for me, Henley. It was tough. The 8s are just low. Like I could build a team out of the 8s. I love the 8s this week. There's some great guys up top. And, I believe the 8,000 and above in general are really solid plays. Finding the values in the 6 and 7s this week is going to be the key, because I don't think you can go wrong with some of these guys up top. Henley's just been tremendous. He finished 3rd last week. Obviously, he's 4th in my model again. Not a huge price bump, 8,100. He's 1st, 8th, 2nd, and 4 of the categories I'm looking at. It's just on the bubble for me. Can he keep it up? Is he drained? What did Sunday do to him? Although he played good, he just said it wasn't, 7, 8 under like Schauffele and Kokrak was. So, he can score on the par 5. So, he's right there. That's why his last 4 out. So Henley's in play for me. Morikawa's in play for me. Cali Boy, $9,800. Normally a guy, like I mentioned, I don't go to him a lot, but if he is going to be the guy that everybody brushes to the side, I will go to him because his ceiling and stuff is there. He finished 12th, which I think is kind of quietly 12th. I don't think many people would think he finished 12th last week. So he's the guy I'm keeping my eye on. Webb didn't play last week. 13 at the Shriners. He's just been consistent all across the board. He was my last 4 out because I think he'll get talked up a lot and be chalky. So that'll be my worry. And that's my only worry why I put him last 4 out. $9,700. I think if you don't want to mess with some of the bigger guys, he's an easy drop down guy. Consistent as all get out. Like him better on Bermuda than Bent, if there was one thing, but keep my eye on that. If for some reason he does have decent ownership, lower mid range, I'll go to him. Hovland, I like him. Go back there. Up and down week for him. Finished 12th though. $9,200. As far as some of those guys above him, I think it's a good price break. Him and Wolf, you can start there, which I had a lot of those two last week. Wolf did not come back. Hovland did. I like his scoring ability. Guaranteed 4 rounds for him. You're going to play 20 par 5s over the 4 days. So he's a guy I like in that situation. Just at 9,200 was, just on the outside end for me. Kind of gut feel plays outside of that. Reed's the top one, $9,600. Played over at Euro, did well there, top 5. Took the week off last week. You know, I mean, if I'm going to play Bubba, I'm going to play Reed most of the time. I kind of put those in a similar category. I like that he took a break from his travel. Now he's gearing up. He'll probably play here. I wouldn't shock me to see him play Houston and then the Masters. So $9,600 for a course that I think, you know, having soft hands and around the green and stuff will matter. I like his ability, and when I don't have to sweat him missing the cut by 1, which he likes to do a lot, I definitely like him at that price. I don't know how much love he'll get. You got Morikawa there, you got Webb there, you got Finau, you know, Cantley even, which maybe doesn't get a lot, which he's my next kind of gut feel. I don't think Minnie will go back there. He's number 1 in my course fit model. He's 13th in recent form for me. Did okay last week. Nothing, certainly didn't pay off his price, but 38th, you know, middle of the pack, just kind of there. Had a strong Sunday, come back. So maybe you found something. I don't mind Cantley at 9,400. I think he'll be low owned, so he's a place you can go with high upside. Matsu, you know, I mean, you know me, he's always going to kind of be right there for me. Seems to find a way to top 20 almost every event. You know, 21st last week, felt like he was out of it most of the week. He had a good Sunday. He's just okay on my model. He's a guy I'll play if he comes in low ownership, and I'll just, you know, get a little bit of leverage. You know, ironically from he's 28, so he's not, you know, not horrible for the price. So you need you're going to want a top 10, top 15 type deal. He just hasn't been as consistent as I would want. And so, you know, if he has to put it in play here, that'll worry me a little bit. Ball striking has not been as crisp as it normally can be. Normally we're just worried about the putting, but you know, I mean, watching him when I have watched him, like he's missed some shots that I'm not fired up to play him, but I think he'll be low owned. And so it gives us a leverage spot of a guy that could, you know, he can click and turn on it. At any point. And then last one is Sungjae. Again, you know, he's been 45th last week, 28th, 13th, kind of coming in. He's kind of just, you know, hit or miss. Any point in time, we know he can turn it on and go. He can go low. 8,000 just feels like a good price. I wouldn't want to pay up for him, but I think he may just go under the radar and not really talked about a lot this week. So Sungjae's a guy I'll keep my eye on, kind of as a gut feel type play. There's a lot of guys this week that I think you can make cases for. Connors is a guy that's up there that lower price that I'll have my eye on. Strowman's a guy I don't mind going back to. Played some of him last week. He finished 21st, kind of quietly. You know, Scott comes back, 7,900. He's, you know, those are kind of Danny Lee, 6,400. He finished 21st last week. You know, again, kind of quietly. Cam Smith, 7,200. I mean, there's some guys down here to fill in, you know, as we go up top. You know, Bill, do people want to go to him? Got a second Old Man Tour championship. And then Champ was another guy I mentioned that I definitely don't mind playing. Ricky, a guy I was on last week, you know, up and down last week, but finished 28th, you know, and then Gooch, you know, it still doesn't check out on the stat model, but just kind of where he's at, finished 5th last week. Definitely, you know, a guy I would keep my eye on as you're looking at for some lower price kind of feeling guy. He's 7,100. Fowler 77 feels cheap. So, you know, those are guys that are going to, this type of field is just, you know, construction is going to come down to it. Ownership should be pretty much spread out. There's so many good options in each zone that there'll be a spot or two, just like last week, where there's obvious chalk. But for the most part, I think it's going to be about where can you construct differently than everybody else. And I appreciate it a lot, especially when I'm doing, you know, kind of the final write-ups on Wednesday. Betting strategy, you know, Monkey Knife Fight sponsoring, you know, 100% up to your first 100% of your first deposit up to $50. You can go to gupscorner.com/affiliate, click the link, use the code GUP. You're free rolling in there. You know, and I've been doing some prop bets that you can use, especially football. They've done well the last couple of weeks. Golf, you know, I'll do them at times, but the site in general I love because it's like betting. It's you against the book, not against each other. So it's something you can all talk about and say, hey, based on all the data information, you know, it's blending the fantasy side because it'll be like over under points, over under fantasy points for the day. scoring, stuff like that. And you can, it's basically kind of like parlaying them together, pick 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, how many ever you want. The more you're trying to hit, the bigger the multiplier, obviously. And again, we can all share the same plays because it's just like betting a game or betting a matchup type deal. So go check them out. They have a great platform, and they're growing like crazy as well. Gupscorner.com/affiliate. Use the code GUP there. 10 guys is kind of hard to get to with such a small field, but the ones that just popped out to me, I've only made a couple bets. I'm going to release my outrights here this afternoon, the first round of them at least. But Bubba, 28-1, Scheffler, 45-1, Neiman, 33-1, Munoz, 80-1, Palmer, 100-1, Connors, 125-1. Both those guys may be like top 10-ish plays more than anything. Hovland, 30-1, Spieth, 100-1, Sungjae, 50-1. I like that number a lot. If I don't want to get on DK, I may bet it and at least have some exposure. And then Gooch, 100-1. Certainly don't mind going there again and maybe even a top 5 on him. A lot of these guys can get up there. When you got JT, Rahm, Schauffele, these guys are all 10, 11-1. It brings some value in. And we saw last week, a Kokrak can win this type of deal, especially a 4-day no-cut deal. Everybody's alive in it, and so there's value to be had there. You get a little nervous because those guys up top, Rory, 12-1. You got 4 guys right there around 15-1 or better. Morikawa right on the edge. That makes you hard to click the button. Webb right there on the edge as well. But we saw last week. These guys can get hot and have a good week. So certainly can still have an advantage there. A lot of the books, some of the books will let you do the, kind of exacta bet, like a horse bet, exacta box, if you will, so take, JT and, Schauffele to finish 1-2 in any order, and it may pay 40-1, 50-1. That's one way to get, some exposure to those and get a little bit better odds if you think 2 of those guys are going to finish up there. I'd normally release a couple of those a week as well. One and done. We're getting to the end, close there. Hopefully you're grinding and you're still got live. I know a lot of the guys in Slack that are up there and live. At this point, with whatever 3-ish tournaments left, you got to play your big guys. I would certainly have my chart mapped out of who I think I'm going to play, so you accidentally don't forget to play a stud. And then obviously I'd want to know who I have for the Masters. But JT, Rahm, X. I think Bubba could be a kind of a sneaky play that most may not be on. Berger didn't really even mention him this whole deal, and I don't mind Berger again this week, $8,900. Morikawa, if you haven't used him, he'll probably elephant in the room that I hadn't even mentioned, the defending champ Tiger. A lot of people are probably saving him for the Masters if they're saving him. So maybe you use him here. He's obviously had tremendous success here. Certainly viable in DK. I worry a little bit about the cooler weather, but I'll kind of see how he's feeling. Maybe a showdown play type guy. Don't know if I get there for 9,000, but maybe he's just not talked about enough this week and gives you a good leverage play of a guy that we know he can show up at any time and win. He's probably well rested. Certainly this will probably be his only tournament before the Masters, so he's a guy you could look at. If you're trying to get a skins play because you just have no luck on segment 4 or the overall, Munoz, Palmer, Jason Day, I think, because I don't know, Jason Day may be 2% owned this week. I faded him last week, but I did play him some throughout showdowns, Thursday or Friday, Saturday. He withdraws, wakes up with a stiff neck, withdraws, probably costs a lot of people potentially. He was sitting right there. He tripled number 1 with a stiff neck. If that was the reason, no reason not to believe him. That's what he said. So he'll be a worrisome guy that people won't go to. Certainly a great GPP play. MME, large MMEs, if you're doing 50 to 150 lineups, I can't see too many people clicking the button there after the withdrawal. And then maybe like a Cameron Champ as well. I think he's got upside to win, so could be a good skins play type of deal. As always, Wednesday afternoon, we'll go probably 4:30 for E9. I'll do E9 again this week. A lot of people DM me. I didn't realize how many people missed it, but a lot of people DM me and thank me for doing it again. Probably do it this week. May take next week off with the Bermuda. Do Houston and then the Masters. Try to get Kenny on 1 or 2 of those shows as well if his schedule allows. So join us then 4:30 Eastern for E9. Like I mentioned, one more time, March to the Masters. Get your shot at winning the super rare Scotty Cameron putter. We got pictures of it on on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. You can go check it out if you want to look at it. Very, very slick putter, something that would be awesome to put in the bag. Free to get in. Well, I mean, you're joining the membership. Give us a try. It's kind of what we're pushing right now, is just come check us out, see what we're about. We've had a ton of new signups. We've had a lot of people upgrading. No better or cheaper time to get in than right now. And as we continue to build, the nice thing is when you get in with us, like we always have done since day one, your pricing is locked in. And if we add stuff, which at this point we're not adding any more packages, I should say. But so for this point on, once you jump in, the full access, like as we build up the tools, we build up the lineup builder, the continued addition of content, more and more. I mean, we're covering everything football inside and out, NFL and college. You don't pay anymore. So the more we put in, the better it is for you guys. We don't raise prices. We're not going to make you pay more as we add different sports or anything like that, or as we grow. You're locked in for life, which a lot of people like that. It's a good, plus do it now for a month. You're going to get through the Masters. Great time to do it. Peak time for football right now. Big Ten's back this week, so college football will be even more hyped up. And Bobby's doing a great job there, doing a great job on the podcast. NASCAR, huge hit in the truck series. Scott covering that. Got a DM on that last week. Guy was super pumped on it. Great ROI there. Ryan kills the main slate on the big NASCAR, and Scott throws in stuff there in the Slack all the time. That play, I'm not big on the NASCAR as far as personally, but I try to learn from those guys and play it and do well there. Cash game is as hot as anywhere on NFL. Ryan's done a tremendous job there. So all the sports are covered, wall to wall. Baseball's wrapping up. Todd did a great job this season, especially at the end when D-Rock departed for family reasons. So Todd's been tremendous, filling in there and picking up the slack. We got the World Series starting, I think tonight is game 1. So that'll wrap up, and then Tommy, covers UFC as good as anybody in the industry. Big fight this Saturday, which is actually during the day. A little awkward there, them doing that, especially with college football going up against that. But we got plenty of TVs to watch it. So that'll be another big card to watch. So come join us, give us a try. 1 month, you get 30% off. What's the risk there? If you're a current member, as always, if you didn't get your email, we emailed all the current members their special offer. DM me or JB or email support@gutsrunner.com, and we'll let you know what you may have missed. Maybe it went to spam or something like that. We'll get you hooked up there. Appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow for E9. Hopefully you have a great day and a blessed week. Thanks. Have a good day.
SmashFactor.